Samantha Culver, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you making the time because you are a busy person and what you do is very meaningful because you are in charge of a community of seniors, I'm assuming, right?
Correct.
In Utica, Ohio, and the name of the community is Oak Hill Manor, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Um, so I we had a session last week. It was Friday, I believe.
Mhm.
Um, we got a bunch of service coordinators together with myself and a member of my team, Jessica, and our goal was to discover problems, right?
Correct.
And one of the biggest problem was food, which was surprising, but not surprising. It's basically like, okay, you start with the basics, and if the basics are not there, things become very complicated fast. So I wanna delve into that. But before we do that, I'd love to understand your journey. How did you get to become a service coordinator where you are? Um,
Hmm. Well, back in 2007, I started working with adults that had developmental disabilities,
mhm,
and I really loved that part of my job. And I love the service coordinators that would help them, with things from getting transportation, food, housing, stuff like that. Um, then my journey kind of switched a little bit to going to a social worker in a nursing home. During COVID, I worked in a nursing home. Then after COVID, we had lost, unfortunately, a lot of community members from COVID
yeah,
residents.
wow,
And they had to let me go because the funding wasn't there for me anymore. I applied for this job and I've been here ever since. And that was 4 years ago. And I absolutely love it. I love everything about the job. I love the company that I work for. It's very meaningful for me knowing that I can assist these senior citizens to age in place.
wow. Um, and so the challenges that you face are, um, in a way, invigorating. Like they make you get up in the morning and do things. It feels like, right? And it seems like you're the kind of person who loves to take a challenge and make it
I
happen.
do. It's challenging to take that challenge on, but these guys deserve the access to healthy foods. It's just the cycle is difficult to break because of limited food choices. That leads to poor outcomes for health, and the poor health outcome increases medical costs and hospital visits, and then that all adds stress both financially and emotionally to our community members who are already living on a fixed income.
Yeah, yeah. And so there's this term called food desert.
Mhm.
Um, is there a technical definition of that term, or is it just a sort of a term that talks about situation where the community doesn't have access to food easily?
I think that's just the term. We don't have access. So we have a local chain here. I don't necessarily want to say it. Um, it's not groceries. However, they do have groceries in their store, but it's more processed food and frozen.
Mm,
We have a couple restaurants. We have one fast food chain here. Um, and then we have a little mom and pop store that offers more bulk items.
mhm.
But they're a little pricier just because, everybody has to hike their prices up to be able to make ends meet, and my community members here can't afford it.
Yeah, yeah. So do they cook, the residents, or how does?
Um, some of them do, yes. I hear a lot of it's just me, so it's hard for them to find um resources to where they can just make something for them that is healthy and not just a frozen meal in the microwave.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's take a step back and describe the community for us. How is it one building, several buildings? How many people are in there? The age
So,
range, for example.
I kind of describe it as like an open campus. We're
Hmm.
actually technically five buildings. So we have the center hub, if that's what you want to call it.
Hmm.
That's where the community room is, my office, property manager's office, and maintenance,
Hmm.
along with the laundry facility. And then we have 300 building, which consists of 10 apartments, all one floor, and the community members here have access to those apartments from directly outside.
Hmm.
And then we have four of those buildings. So we have 1 to 400, and each building has 10 apartments. So we have 40 community members here.
For the community. Mhm.
Mhm.
Is it one per apartment? Do they live alone or are they?
One per apartment. We have 40 apartments, and it just happens to be everybody that lives here lives alone.
Okay, they're like one bedroom with,
Correct. One bedroom, a little over 517 square feet.
okay, okay. With kitchen and
Yep.
uh,
Full amenities, kitchen, stove, microwave.
yeah. Is it how what is it called? Assisted living or
No,
affordable
so it's
living?
independent living, and we are
Mhm.
subsidized housing.
Subsidized. Okay.
hmm
Um, I see. And so these are folks who are otherwise independent. They could get in and out anytime they want, right?
A majority of them can. Um, and that's, while it may be simple for us to just hop in our car and make a trip quick to the store, some of them don't have that luxury. Some of
Yeah.
them had to stop driving due to other comorbidities. And we are about 15-20 minutes in either direction to a decent grocery store. And, when you're talking to someone that has comorbidities, several, that you might as well say it's 100 miles for them.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Um, and so transportation, so there is food and there's transportation, I would say, are big problems, wouldn't you say?
Yes, transportation is a huge problem. I've been here, like I said, for 4 years. When I first started, I did a community member survey. Hey, what are you looking for? What do you want? And a majority of them that I got back said they just want a nice cold tomato. And I was like, wow, I didn't realize the impact that that would have,
What are they
not
trying to
being
say when
able,
they point out to a tomato? They're trying to say what? They
they
want,
just want fresh produce.
yeah.
They just want fresh produce. We do have a local food pantry. Um, I believe this one is limited on, pretty much what they give you. Um, a lot of the stuff comes back over here because they get, a lot of soup beans and, 5 pounds of rice. And they're like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Mm.
And I'm very grateful, that we do have the food pantry. It's
What
just
is that?
not,
What is a food pantry? How does it get replenished and all? Tell me about
I think they just through like our local food pantry network in Licking County, I think they get food. I know some food pantries you're able to kind of like shop through, and some you just drive through and you get what they give you.
I see, I see. But for those who are not able to get up and drive, do they go with a friend or how do they manage?
Some of them go with a friend. Um, we do have family up here that are able to assist when needed. Um, 4 years ago, I started the process of trying to get a group through our transit, our county transit, and it took 4 years in the making. Just this year, I was finally able to get a bus up here, a transit bus up here twice a month to
Mm.
take a group limited to 8 to the grocery store. Um, and that works, but one of the downfalls is due to bus regulations. If there's ever a fire and they have to get out quickly, they can't have tons of groceries
Sure.
blocking the aisleway. And I understand that, but then it's limited to what they can only fit on their lap and carry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's very, they struggle a lot with that.
Okay. Well, give me some share with me like a couple of things you've done sort of creative things you've done to help them out uh, with
So I
their.
was able to partner up with a local church.
Mm,
They come up once a month towards the end because that's when we realize this is when they're really pinching pennies,
yeah,
just trying to get through until that next check. And they bring the staples. So milk and eggs are a huge a, what's the word I'm looking for? Are huge up here. Milk and eggs. You need that for just about any recipe.
I see.
They bring cereal, dish soap, laundry soap, and canned goods.
Yeah.
I partnered with when I first started. Um, I don't have a problem calling and saying, "Hey, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is what I need. Can you help me? If not, do you know somebody that can?"
Okay.
So I called one of our local orchard companies here in Utica and explained who I was, what I did, what I'm looking for. And she said, "Well, unfortunately, I don't think I would be able to help you, but I know someone that probably could."
Mm,
So
mm,
then they hooked me up with Center of Hope, which is based out of Bladensburg here in, I think they're considered Knox County. Um, she was coming up once a week for almost a year.
mm.
And as with everything, it was a really big hit. Everybody loved it. And then it kind of fell off the wagon wheel.
Wow.
And then it just got to the point to where they were not able to bring their big bus up here for the 5 or 6 people that were still signed up. Okay, well,
Why did it fall? Why did it why did it go off the rails? Why did that project sounds like it
um,
was a hit, right?
it was a hit at first, absolutely. We had a lot of people sign up for it. But then it was, I don't know if they were getting it too much, if they were getting too much food, but it was wonderful because they were able to kind of like pre-package bags and say, for example, this Thursday you were having tacos.
Mm,
So they would be able to provide you with a pound of meat. They
mm.
would be able to provide you with the cheese, the taco seasoning. They would kind of almost make like your own little kit.
Yeah.
And then the next week it would be chili, and they would provide you with what they had for what you would need.
Mm.
Um, so I don't know if it got to be too much, but then they had to stop coming up here.
Well,
So
so I want to understand that. So was it because it became too much for, was it the company or who was that?
no, I think it started to become too much for the community members food
Oh,
wise. And
oh,
then
really? Okay.
some of them are able to go a little more in the summertime, and I really worry about them in the wintertime
Oh, so
and
they
making
have to go somewhere, right? Is that the idea?
now they have to, yes.
Okay.
Before they were bringing it here, but a lot of our community members are still able to get out some during the summer. So
Mm,
that's when they're running, they're doing a lot of their doctor's appointments. Um, and then, like I said, I worry about them here more in the wintertime
yeah,
because a lot of the times, once that first snow falls, these guys don't move their car.
of course. Yeah, when it's dangerous, right? You slip,
Yeah.
you fall, and it's
Hmm.
so at the beginning you said that that food, when you have issues with nutrition, it just cascades in terms of problems, in terms of health. Walk me through that so that the audience can hear that something like that, if taken care of, can prevent a whole bunch of severe issues and problems.
Well, if you're a diabetic and you're only able to afford, the store that's here, they do have frozen food and bread and stuff
Mm,
along those lines, but then the price is upped because we're out in the middle of nowhere, and I understand that. So then a lot of them, just get the bare necessities, and eating frozen foods or bread when you're diabetic is not necessarily, the best thing for you. So then that leads to your sugar skyrocketing, then that leads to a doctor's visit or a hospital call or a hospital stay. And like I said, it's just a vicious cycle.
yeah, yeah,
If you
exactly.
have high blood pressure, you want to stay away from salt.
Yeah, and these foods are not good for somebody who.
No, they're not sustainable.
Yeah, yeah. So if you were, let's say, if you were to ask for, a resource of or something, if you were to ask for something from someone who can give you that something
Hmm.
that would help you would move the needle for you, right? What would that be? That would be sustainable, right? What
That
would
would be sustainable.
yeah.
Um, well,
Like
what I would like and what I
yeah.
would be allowed to do to make sure that I'm in guidelines with their housing laws and HUD rules and my company's policies and procedures. Um, and I've talked about it with my property manager. I
Mm,
would love to be able to get a little storage shed that I
mm,
can put out back by my office,
mm,
to where we would be able to keep the foods um, that maybe won't perish in that storage shed and kind of have like a bigger
mm.
food pantry, because my community members know the fourth Friday of every month they're over here waiting like clockwork. They know that that church comes at 1 o'clock the fourth Friday or the fourth Tuesday of every month. I would like to have a little storage shed. Doesn't have to be anything big. I would like to have electric ran to it. Again, I have to make sure that all this is, doable.
Mhm, mhm.
But that's what I feel that we need. Um, I mean, because we have no storage here.
I
We're a
see.
smaller property. I'm busting at the seams in my office as it is. I have laundry soap underneath my desk and I got some
Okay.
canned food
Yeah.
over here,
So there you go. So
so
storage and maybe a big freezer or something like that for meats, perhaps. Something like that.
perhaps, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
And that would, so that way you'd be able to, I don't know, maybe with a couple of folks go and shop for the week, something like that, with
yeah.
fruits and vegetables, and then where would the money come from? Would the residents be able to pitch in, or how would that work?
I don't think I would be able to ask the community members to help with something like that. So I'm not sure,
How
you
about
know.
family? Do they have families?
Some of them do, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a very small farming community, so a lot of the families,
Or something.
are some of them are struggling themselves. Some of the families don't live here in the area. Um, so I've dreamed about a lot, but being able to
But
know those people
yeah.
and pull those right strings to get it done.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean
Yeah,
that's the thing I'm impressed by. So because I've been doing research and talking to lots of service coordinators, and what's impressive is the how they are able to just go and figure out and solve problems, right?
right.
You need to solve a problem. You gotta bring in all your skills and so forth, and it's impressive because these are not easy problems. They're hard, and also the impact is huge. It's not like you're gonna make somebody feel a little bit better. No, it's like you said, like it's health and it's and so and sometimes it's a couple of things and all of a sudden all kinds of good things start happening. Like I know in rural areas there's church presence, right? So you mentioned a church there. Are there
Hmm.
several churches there or one for that community or
Um, well, there's several churches here. And again, I don't have a problem, reaching out to anybody saying, "Hey, look, this is who I am. This is what I do."
yeah.
But the church is actually from the Heath area, which is about 20 minutes.
Mm,
Yeah. And that had happened because I had someone come up from our local library and she was doing a craft with the community members and her and I just got to talking and we went down that rabbit hole. Well, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Do you know anybody that can help? And it initially started because I get worried about the community members in the winter. So that's kind of the initial reason why we started it. And then just the need for it is huge, you
yeah.
know. And I hear a lot of them say, well, do I need milk, my medicine, or cat food?
Mm.
And like, I don't ever want that to have to. to happen.
Yeah, 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 exactly. So so HUD provides some money for the community. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Exactly how, I'm not sure because I'm not property management, so
I
that's not
understand.
my area, but
Yeah,
I know that it's subsidized housing through HUD. That's about all I know.
yeah, yeah. I was wondering, like, does HUD do they have money for things like that, right? So to enable the community to live, in a healthy life. I wonder, right? I don't know myself.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm not 100% sure how all that works.
yeah, yeah. Um, and so you've been there for 4 years, right?
Hmm.
Maybe you can share with me a couple of stories that will reveal to us the nature of your work and in more detail, like the nature of your challenge. Like, give me a couple of stories that you can share about your experience
Um,
so far.
hmm. Well, we actually, the company, we just celebrated it wasn't national, we just did it, but it was Service Coordinator Awareness Week back in July. Our company is about 28, 29 roughly portfolios all throughout Ohio.
What's
And
the
we
name of
have,
I'm sorry to interrupt you. The name of your
that's
company?
okay, Beacon 360 Management.
Okay.
Hmm. Yeah. So we have about 28, 29 roughly. We're growing more and more every day. Um, different portfolios all throughout Ohio. And in July, we launched a Service Coordinator Awareness Week because not all of our properties have the benefit of having a service coordinator on site. We have
Ooh.
three properties that have a service coordinator.
So how do the other manage? The other ones.
It's an everyday struggle. Yeah,
Wow.
a lot of the local agencies come in. Property management helps with what they can,
Hmm.
but they're limited on what they can do too because then they still have to do the upkeep of the property and all of their paperwork.
Wow.
Um, so I think a story that I shared is at another location that I was filling in at. Um, we have an individual there, and I could tell that something just wasn't right.
Hmm.
Something was wrong. And he would come to me and he'd say, Samantha, I don't want to go back to the hospital. Please don't make me go back to the hospital. So I fought with his insurance company and his doctors for over 6 months, stating that he qualified and he deserved and he needed an a nurse to come in to help with med management.
Hmm.
He was in and out of the hospital um, several times within a short amount of time. And I knew that that wasn't his baseline. I knew that wasn't typical for him. And finally, after 6 months, his doctors agreed to it. They wrote him the prescription to get home health care in for med management. And I'm happy to say that it's been almost 2 years and he hasn't been back to the hospital.
Wow, wow. And so what they need really is an advocate, somebody who goes and fights.
Yes, for sure.
And if they
100%.
don't, if you didn't have that one, and that I would say almost luxury, given that you are not a commodity. Like somebody has to go and care enough and do and have the skills to call and be persistent, right?
Hmm.
You'd probably be going in and out, probably catching new diseases and all kinds of things.
Yeah.
In addition to, I'm probably not going as often as you should. So that's amazing. I mean, and you don't have to tell me if you don't want to. Like, do you sometimes find yourself, like, I know sometimes teachers find themselves paying for like whatever food, whatever for their students. Do you find yourself like taking money out of your pocket to do something, or like filling your cart to go somewhere and it's your money? And again, you don't.
Um, no, not necessarily. I have a couple times with like bingo prizes, but I also know that that's not sustainable for
Yeah,
me
yeah,
or healthy for me, you
yeah.
know.
You have to.
Um, as a service coordinator working in a nonprofit, we don't make a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah. That's the
You
thing is
know.
the people who the people who care sometimes they have to sacrifice, right? And so that's
Hmm.
and then but it's I think like you just said, right? It's important for you to just ensure that you don't hurt yourself, right? And then you
Right.
force yourself to sort of find other resources that are more sustainable, because the whole point is to have a sustainable
Absolutely.
solution to these problems. And for you right now, aside from food and transportation, um, if you were to give advice to somebody who's starting, right, in a role that is similar to you, meaning more or less a rural area, you know, what did you learn? What kind of like basic mistakes you made that you wish somebody had told you to avoid, or what advice would you give somebody starting?
Well, I can't necessarily that, I mean, every mistake leads to something new.
Of
You know
course,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
Um, so it's a learning curve, it's a learning
So
process.
the point is for them to make other types of mistakes. You know what I mean? So they start with the baseline that is where you inform them, say, "Hey, I'm going to tell you two things, this and that." Okay. Now they go and they make their own mistakes, and then from them,
Right.
but is there anything like you could say, watch out for this, or this would be a good thing to do from the get-go, or maybe I don't get to know people.
I
Um,
can't necessarily say to watch out for anything. I
yeah.
think you have to be consistent, persistent, and follow through.
Yep. That's
Yes.
important. Yeah.
Like I said, it took me 4 years to get our public transit up here, but it's happening
So
twice a month.
you'd say fight, keep the hope, and then something will happen because you know most of the
Yeah,
time. Yeah,
I'm a squeaky wheel and I don't have a problem admitting it.
yeah, yeah,
Again, I don't have a problem calling you and saying, "Hey, I need help with something."
yeah,
And that's what you need to do. We're an advocate for them. We're their voice sometimes.
yeah. So did you attend the American Association of Service Coordinators conference?
I did, yes. It was absolutely wonderful. And I had the luxury, I call it a luxury because it was really amazing. I was part of the group that went on to Capitol Hill
Oh, you did.
that
Tell me about that.
Wednesday.
Was
Mhm.
that the first time you went?
It was the first time that I've been to Capitol Hill, but not the first time that I've been to a conference.
No, to that to
Um,
Capitol Hill. Yeah. So tell me about that experience. Must have been exciting, right?
it was nerve-wracking and it was exciting.
Why
But
was it nerve-wracking?
I had the opportunity to be in the group with the advocate, the service coordinator that won Advocate of the Year,
Hmm.
which phenomenal. I wish I could clone her and put her in my back pocket. Um, but she was able to kind of like tee it up the conversation when we would be in, the office talking with the staff. And then I would kind of like knock it out of the ballpark. And it
Nice.
was amazing. And I got a stack of business cards like this. And
Wow.
I've been emailing them slowly but surely and saying, "Hey, again, this is who I am. This is what I do. We didn't meet, but I need someone to help pass the Expand the Service Coordinator Act to where we can get more service coordinators in HUD housing and
Wow.
more funding."
Yeah, yeah. No, that's amazing. I mean, being able to go and advocate in the
Mm-hmm.
like you see the staff there, the Congress. That's Congress. That's they're supposed to represent us, and being able
Yeah,
to be that. So you got yourself some contacts, and you're
sure did.
dialing for donuts, right? As they say.
Yep, sure did.
Wonderful.
And currently, my community members up here at Oak Hill, they're writing postcards for our congressman here, our local congressman, and I'm hand delivering these to him on October 2nd.
Nice.
Well, I'm going to attempt to hand deliver them to him. If not, I'm going to hand deliver them to his staff. But I called his office to see if I could get a face-to-face interview. And I haven't heard back, so I'll be calling them back today.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it would be a shame for them not to give you some time, to because what you're doing.
I know they're busy, but what we have is important. What we need is important. Our community members are important, and they deserve to have someone up here to assist them to age in place, happy, healthy, and housed.
Yeah. Do your residents know of all these things you're doing? Like, for example, of course, the postcards, right? Do they know that you're going to talk to them? Do you talk?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep,
You talk to them about it? Do you? Yeah.
sure do.
So is it really a community? Because sometimes they say community, but it's not really a community. People just, they're in their apartment, get in, out. Do they know each other? Do they get gather and they do things together?
They do. Not only do I host events, like I have different agencies come from outside of the community. Today we have someone coming from a local hospice company, and they're going to be making these cute little pumpkins and having apple cider. And that's socialization these individuals need,
Yeah.
especially with the winter months coming. That's when I worry about them. Um, I partnered with the high school last year, and I'm giving them some time to get accustomed to their classes. But our local high school, the seniors, the students there have to have at least 30 hours of community service in order to graduate. So I have partnered with them last year to come down and help host events. The kids come down, they sing. The elementary school students come down every October, and we're currently looking for donations of candy. And we pack about 200 little bags of candy for the elementary school students to come around. And we call it a costume parade, and they'll prance around the community, and our community members just absolutely eat it up. So,
That's wonderful.
yeah,
Yeah. I
we
mean,
really are a community. It's home.
yeah, no, that's
It's home.
important, right? Because we
Yeah,
human beings, we are miserable or happy depending on whether we have contact with other human beings, right? You
right.
know, one can be wealthy and rich in a big house by themselves and they'll be miserable, right?
Correct.
One can be
Absolutely.
with just friends or people that they care about and it doesn't matter, right? They feel good because I think it's embedded in us as human beings to be like that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Samantha, it went very fast.
It
Uh,
did.
Hopefully it was not painful, but I enjoyed it. I have a lot of other questions. I'm sure we'll get to talk some more uh,
Okay.
during our meetings, the monthly meeting with Lingo and all that. But I really do admire you and people like yourself who do things like this. Every single day you do meaningful things, right? As opposed to most people who just they go to the office and do some stuff that who knows if it means.
It's something new every day for sure. Yeah. Like I'm currently in the middle of trying to find a bed and a recliner for one of my community members that desperately needs it. So,
Yeah, and when you find it, you know that you've made a life better.
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really
Thank
appreciate
you. You have
it.
a great weekend.
You too. Take care.
Bye.